Speaking of which, that last comment on the last video when I said we always make sure that all the employees are they're safe at work and they get to go home to their families instead of going to the hospital. There's a thing we always talk about too on that aspect through our safety programs and our relationships in the industry on the safety side and making sure that employers are doing everything they can to keep their employees safe. One of the things that we like to say is, look, hey, in the instance where you have an employee gets injured at work, right? Don't try and deny it. Don't try and hide from it. Don't try and brush it under the rug. You file the claim, but you make sure you tell the employee, say, look, we care about you. Because once the employee feels like you don't care about them, that's when they get the attorneys involved, and that's when claims get out of control. You don't want that situation where, John's in the shop, gets a severe cut, injury, breaks an arm, breaks a leg, and you're like, oh, go off to the urgent care, and here's the insurance company's information. We're going to file a claim, and just you deal with it. And then they get the feeling that you don't care about them. Then they also get the insurance carrier may start asking questions, and they're like, oh, whoa, insurance company doesn't care about me. They're asking questions. Well, no, the insurance company is asking questions. They're asking questions because they want to know, what do we need to do to get this employee back to work? Well, some of them take it the wrong way, and if the employer is not communicating with the employee and they got the insurance company asking questions, then they get the attorney, and that's where at that point, once they get the attorney, you as the employer cannot talk to them anymore about the situation. Now it's in the attorney's hands, and the attorneys deal with the insurance carriers, and that's when things get way out of whack. Claims get escalated, dissatisfaction, other employees hear about it back in the shop, and they all sit there and go, oh, wow, John got injured at work, and they ABC company, they don't care about him. The insurance company's trying to screw him out of his claim, and they say, where none of it is probably true at all. That's where we say, look, they get injured. Hey, John, oh my God, I can't express to you how sorry I am that this happened to you. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have, Bill is gonna take you to the urgent care. He's got all the insurance information to file a workers' comp claim. We're gonna make sure that's taken care of from square one. And also the insurance carriers, because a lot of them now have these triage, they call them the nurse triages, where it's almost, where it's kind of like the guy at the hotel that's there to help you out and make sure everything goes right. The, what do you call those guys? The concierges? Well, they call it the nurse triage, right? So they have those at the insurance carriers. They have the concierge, they call it the nurse triage. Hey, let's get him in. Let's make sure he gets to the right provider. Make sure he gets this. Make sure he gets that. He's going to therapy. He's getting his payments on time. And the employer's involved in it, HR, whether it's the owner or the HR, depending on the size of the company. And you just make sure from square one to the end of it that the employee knows that you care about their well-being, and then all the other employees know you're taking care of John, but that we also know if something does happen, we're all going to be taken care of. It just makes for a better morale, better environment with the employees. It just makes overall it's just a much better situation. And we always tell employers, look, this is what you need to do. Take care of the employee. Don't make it a combative situation, because that's where the attorneys get involved, and that's where things go totally sideways, and that's where that claim escalates to a point where you don't want it to go, because then it affects your experience modification to higher the claim, because the experience mods, they all look at, you got frequency and you've got severity. So that's the two things that looks at. You don't want that high mod, because then you start diminishing your availability in the marketplace. The number of carriers that want to compete get lowered. The pricing goes up, obviously, because your mod goes up, but then also you'll start finding carriers adding debits into there and artificially increasing the premium because they know no one else wants it. So I'm the only one that's going to take this account. So I'm going to give you a standard quote with no credit, and I'm going to add an extra 20%. Keep it below the assigned risk cost. They're able to do it, and that's the situation you don't want to be in. So being a One Digital client, That's how we coach our clients, how we treat our clients, and how we make sure that every stakeholder, from the CEO down to the HR, down to the employees that are on the safety committee out in the shop, to their families, they know we all care about you, and we're going to make sure that you are able to go home to your family every single night.